So, I've not done one of these in a little bit, but we are inching ever closer to the Mandalorian and Grogu. So I think it's high time I get back on my way to this movie. Of course, my name is Daniel Strung. Welcome back to QuickTime Reactions, and you find me on my way to the Mandalorian and Grogu, where I'm going to be reviewing every single episode of The Mandalorian, seasons 1 through 3, as well as talking about the Book of Boba Fett. And we resume our journey with episode 6, which is entitled The Prisoner. This is directed by, I believe, another returning director, Rick Famuyiwa. And this episode was, the script was written by Christopher Yost and Rick Famuyiwa, with Yost being the one behind the story. Mando is a bit strapped for cash, so he heads back to an old friend of his to do a job. However, as it turns out multiple times throughout this season, the job is just a touch harder than they expect. So, are they going to be able to make it out with said prisoner in time? Or are they all going to get trapped? Or is there going to be a bit of backstabbing going on? We'll have to wait and see. So, this cast in this particular episode is very, very eclectic, and has a lot of people that, now that I'm much older, I've actually watched a lot more of their work. Starting off with Ran, who is Mando's buddy, who he kind of recaptures old times with, and is the one offering the job. He is played by Mark Boone Jr., who we saw not only in Memento as the motel clerk, but also in Batman Begins as one of the cops as well. We also have in this cast Natalia Tena, who is Jian. I hope I'm saying that correctly. For those that don't know who she is, you might recognize her from John Wick 4, where she was the one talking to John about trying to get back into the Rescaroma. We also have Clancy Brown as Berg. People of my age, and probably various other ages, would probably know him best as the voice of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. But he also has a fair bit of other stuff, like, for instance, he is in the Penguin series on Max, and he has also voiced characters in Star Wars animated projects in the past as well. We also have Richard Ayoade, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, as the droid Zero. I think the show's name is Office Space, is where he's from, most famous from. But I think the biggest standout in the cast is Mayfield, who we will get to know in a later season. He is played by the great comedian Bill Burr. And I was not expecting, watching this show for the first time, was not expecting Bill Burr to be in this show at all. But he does provide some good comic relief in this, while also being very good at straight-laced and being serious as well. So I have to give my props to him in this episode. And I will be giving him further props when we talk about him in later episodes. But yes, in this, their whole gang is trying to get out a prisoner on this New Republic ship. And, of course, things are going, as they are. Of course, the gang is mocking Mando a little bit, saying, why don't you take your helmet off? Why don't you show us when it's under that, little dome you got over your head? And then they, of course, discover the child. which, everyone's like, I didn't expect that out of you, Mando. You got yourself a little pet right here. Everyone's, of course, still making fun of him. They get to the prison transport ship, and they get in. Everything's going good until Berg destroys a mouse droid, and that alerts all the other droids, security droids, I should say, to their position, but Mando takes care of them with relative ease. They make their way to the control room, where I think they said his name was Devin. I could be totally off base with that. But funny enough, that New Republic soldier was played by one Matt Lanter, who has also voiced characters in Star Wars animation before. I think, and I know people are going to rip me apart in the comments for not knowing this off the top of my head, but I didn't watch the animated shows. I believe he is the voice of Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars animated series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is what he's most known for from Lucasfilm. So everyone in the gang, Berg, Xian, and Mayfield, want to kill him, but he's got a fob on him. I shouldn't say fob, more so a tracking beacon, that if he pressed it, a New Republic fleet would be there on their exact location and wipe them all out. And Mando's trying to dissolve the situation in a peaceable way, but it doesn't work. Xian throws a knife into his side and kills him, but he did press the button on the tracker, which means they now have 20 minutes to try and find where this prisoner is. Luckily, they do. But then, of course, our crew backstabs Mando and puts him in the cell where the prisoner, whose name is Quinn, who is the brother to Xian, they get him out and they put Mando in the cell. And so they try and hustle back to the ship. Meanwhile, as all this is going down, Zero has found out the information, or is trying to figure out the information about what happened with Mando and the Bounty Hunters Guild when the child starts to mess with Zero a little bit, leads him astray a little bit through the Razor Crest. Meanwhile, Mando, inside the prison ship, does manage to escape, gets himself back to the control room, and separates everyone from the group. First, he takes down Berg, who, it is very much David versus Goliath in that situation, but he is able to take him down. Next is Xian with her throwing knives. He's able to get rid of her easily. Next is Mayfield, and the one shot that I absolutely love in this episode is there's all sorts of flashing lights that happen in the background because the halls are tinted red and sometimes there's flashing white lights. And you see the shot of Mayfield. He's in the foreground, but in the background, as those flashing strobes happen, you see Mando get closer and closer and closer to him. I think that's an absolutely awesome effect achieved. That was really, really cool. And Mando gets to Mayfield. And now all he's got left is Quinn. And Quinn's like, hey, you have a code. You had a job. You were supposed to bring me back in. So do it. Just bring me back in. Don't kill me. Just bring me back in. Whatever Rand's paying you, I'll see to it that it happens. Just turn me in. And that's what Mando does. He gets back to Rand. He gives him back Quinn. He gets paid, and they mutually part. But Rand is about to send a gunship towards the Razor Crest and kill Mando. Luckily, though, Mando thought that this was going to happen and put that tracking fob that he spotted earlier in the episode when he went back to the control room, he put it on Quinn. So the fob, sending that New Republic fleet, tracked him to Rand's location, and they destroyed Rand's operation, or his home base of operation, I should say. Also, in a fun little note, all 3 X-Wing pilots were cameos from the directors of this season. The 3 of them were Davefiloni, who is given the name Trapper Wolf. This episode's director, Rick Famuyiwa, as Jib Dodger, and Deborah Chow, who has directed episodes in the past. She was Sash Ketter. So I just found it pretty funny that, those 3 got to, cameo in this episode. I found that pretty funny. So Mando goes about the rest of his day. Well, shouldn't say the rest of his day. He leaves scot-free, and him and the child are safe. And that is pretty much all that happens in episode 6 of season 1 of The Mandalorian. This was a pretty nice bottle episode. It was really cool to once again see Bill Burr back as Mayfeld. And I just know we're going to get some really, really good stuff with him, I think in season 2, which is going to be really fun to explore. But yeah, this was a overall pretty fun episode, and I am getting ever so closer to the season finale of season 1. Well, we almost have 1 season knocked down. So I hope you continue with me on my journey on the way to Mandalorian and Grogu. But in the meantime, be safe out there, and never trust anybody in a group, because you never know when somebody might backstab you in the end. That's all I'm saying. And I will catch you guys next time.